and welcome to the Woman's Cave. Thank you, Winona, for letting me have this. Like, this is...
Yes. Well, you came out the other day with something about teeth whitening.
Oh, my
goodness. I can't be
goodness.
surprised like that ever again.
It was so nice. Like, they are still so super white. This teeth whitening regime is life, y'all. Like, it is really working for me. But she's just so white. Just in case you're listening to it on the podcast.
Yeah, the first time she said it, I was like, what? And I laughed for a good, like, minute. And it was our first, like, real celeb interview, like, with someone in the UK.
And that was really funny, too. But also, I'm Jade.
I'm Winona. And white. We remember.
High five social
distance. I'm so excited.
Yeah. We remember. I mean, it is Friday, right? And we just had, like, a room full of people. I don't even know what kind of banter I can do today.
No,
I'm
we're
like,
done.
I'm building up all this happy and excitedness, but then like really,
you look at how many people are in your life. No, that's okay.
I shouldn't be that unprofessional in front of all of the guests in the room, right?
Because we might actually want to come to their premiere, and then they'll see how unprofessional we are, and they'll be like, "No, you can't come." So
I know, and then I would have missed a food opportunity. And you know how I hate to miss food opportunities.
Anyway, we wrote books.
Oh, yeah.
Otherwise known as
Literary Life Guides with pop poetry. Yeah, so let me just tell y'all the top 4 because, you know, there's so many of them. So, and I Thought Divorce Was Bad with Other Life Lessons.
You're going to have to pause and get that. Just
no, because it's the proof copy, right? So it looks...
Okay, never mind. Move on. We redid the cover. Yeah.
We did the cover, but it's the proof copy, y'all. Don't judge me. But it's so nice. And it's original art by Ren Ivy, so she is just a lovely artist.
Yeah, and then we have Anti-Therapy and Grown Up with Easy.
Yeah, both available on Audible, Barnes & Noble, and
Amazon.
Yep. And then we have the and I Thought I Did My Journey Alone, and If Only I Were Me, available only on Barnes & Noble. And then we do a bunch of magazines and 25 hottest. And you know what, y'all? You know where you can find out everything your ladies are doing. And I do mean everything your ladies are doing. It's probably gonna be a biscuit recipe up there one day. I don't know. At www.andwethought.com.
Let's swap out the biscuit recipe for cocktails.
Okay, sure. Whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll roll with that.
Well, that's enough about us. We have co-hosts
today.
Introduce yourself.
Well, first I want to know why not both cocktails and biscuits.
Have you seen our website? We are out of page space. Like we're combining things now. At this time, our store has.
You can just have them rotate every now and then.
Okay, that'll work.
Yeah.
Well, I am Tanya Todd. I am an author and actress in Las Vegas. I'm also a screenwriter and the education chair for Henderson Writers Group.
All right, thank you, Tanya.
And we're not going to make you say your website today.
I know, we're not. Not today. Although
too many people.
Too many people. Although y'all know I really wanted her to say it, but I'm keeping it in. But y'all aren't here to hear about us and drill on about whatever we're doing in our life. No one cares.
Because I could do it for hours.
You're here to hear from our wonderful guest. Wonderful guest, would you like to introduce yourself? We're going to start with Meg. Start with Meg.
Hi guys. Well, this is my second time speaking to everybody. This time I have my writer's room here for the show that we are making and creating and producing. I am a actor, writer, producer, creator. I like to use the word multi-hyphenate. That's number 2 today, right, Karen? And things that are fun to know about me are, I just got done baking my son's 5-year-old birthday cake. This is food coloring. And I grew up in Michigan.
Cold.
Good.
And for the guests at home, what is the show?
Oh, our show is called Intersection. You can find us on Instagram at Gentrification the Show, or right now, Seed and Spark, we have Intersection, if you look that up.
Nice.
Is it on me?
Yes. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jacente Blankenship. I am based in Atlanta. I'm an actor and a writer as well. Originally from Houston, Texas. Once a Texan, always a Texan. So that means I love Beyonce. And love all things wine, food, and I am a steadfast, staunch introvert.
Okay.
You're a great writer.
I love it. I love it very much.
You're a dynamic introvert.
Yeah.
Jenica.
Yes. Hello. Hi, I'm Jenica Hill. I'm an actor and writer as well in Atlanta, Georgia, with these lovely ladies. And I am originally from Boise, Idaho, known for much more than potatoes. And let's see, the fun fact I always share is that I was a competitive jump roper for 6 years. So my team actually won Grand National Champions 3 years in a row. So,
What?
We're pretty good. So yeah.
Actually, been to Boise. It's kind of fun. We've been there a few times.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pretty.
Yeah.
It's great, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't expect it to be like, I thought it would just be potatoes, but yeah, she's right. It's so much more.
And I mean, like, Idaho is pretty nice. Like,
Oh yeah, I love driving through Idaho. One of my favorite states to drive through. Okay, I'm sorry. Miss Moss.
yeah,
Miss Moretta Moss, actress, writer, realtor from Atlanta. My fun facts, so many fun facts, but I'm gonna go with alliteration. I like country music and cats. And last night I said I wish I would just have a nervous breakdown and get it over with. So that's just where I am right now. So
I think.
Well, you look lovely, all things considered.
yeah, just a heads up.
I think 2020 has what people feel like that. Okay,
Yeah.
so am I gonna have one, or am I like, let's just
Yeah.
hide the way?
Yeah, it's happening. Let's just get it over with. It's just like on the edge. I'm done with, you know. Ooh, I'm tired.
Favorite country music singer?
Oh, it's Garth Brooks, like just because like 90s country, but like the Dixie Chicks, like also, and
They're
then
not, the chicks now.
I look like a chick.
yeah, the chicks, and but also like T Swayze, Taylor Swift, like also she's in there. Like I really like her Folklore album. If anyone's listened to it, I still
This
claim
is
her.
news to me. I did not.
I have
know
a
you
Taylor Swift song. Look, I'm like, I have a Taylor Swift song. I've purchased one, so there. Right?
Yeah. All right, and now we're at Karen. Thank you for speaking up, Karen.
It was
This
like
is
a perfect
fabulous.
segue.
It was a perfect segue. We don't do the
Was
beyond
it?
show, but you did it. Thank you so much.
Segueing to me, my name is Karen Cisse. I am also an actor, in addition to being a writer and a mommy and a wife and a pretty damn good cook. Oh, are we allowed to curse on this? I didn't even know. Darn cook. Pretty good darn cook. My fun facts, I have been binging Buck Rogers of the 25th Century from the 70s. I've been binging that on Peacock in addition to Silver Surfer. Because we just got the Disney Plus password. Right? Look, we just got your Disney Plus. Yeah, so I don't know, so many things, and yet none are coming to mind now about myself.
But that's what happens when we do, like, people
When we get old.
Yeah. No, I wasn't agreeing with old. No, I was never agreeing with that. No.
It's okay. Right. Look.
So our first question, because you know we were semi-professional and wrote down questions.
We wrote stuff down, y'all. Can you believe it? It's amazing. The level of professionalism is
increasing,
but
means,
probably not.
but
Like
wait.
maybe sort
But
of.
that actually means we're getting older if our level of professionalism is increasing. Anyway,
I'm gonna go with we're getting paid more. That's what I'm gonna go with. I'm never gonna say I'm getting old. I'm getting paid more. That's what I'm
funny,
gonna
and that's a joke in itself. Anyway,
That's funny.
I don't know if that's a parallel, but we'll go. We'll make it. Right.
I was just trying, y'all. I was trying.
So what is a writer's room for everyone who doesn't know what it is? That seems like something people should know about, but just in case.
So a writer's room is once a show gets picked up, usually once a show gets picked up to a series, they will cast out a writer's room. And so they bring in anywhere from, nowadays you can have like 2 writers, but most of the time it's 6, sometimes up to 20 writers in a writer's room working on the different shows within a season. So I think what's that 80s sitcom on like TBS or something? What is that one?
The Goal? No, that's not it.
I don't.
Karen knows what
We're
it
gonna
is.
need a little bit more to go on. There's a lot of sitcoms from the 80s, but I got you. Once you give me a little bit more.
The one that I was just listening to one of the writers in that writer's room. He was brought on recently, but it's the one like that is a knockback, huh?
Oh, I was like, Cheers? I don't know.
No, sorry. It's playing now, but it's based on the 80s.
Oh, the Goldberg.
Yes, I knew you would know. So
Yeah,
they have
I'm from Philly in the 80s. I grew up in the 80s in Philly. That's me. That's high school.
He was
They
talking
name
about how
dropped them
they-
all I worked at. Yeah. Right.
Nice. they have like 20 writers room, and he was like talking about how the dynamic in that writers room works with people pitching. You pitch your ideas. Some writers will go away. They'll bring their episode. And so usually one writer will take on one episode, but everyone is sort of contributing to that by putting in their ideas and breaking story and things like that.
What are the pros and cons of having so many writers in the room?
What's the purpose? Is that what you said?
No, what are the pros and cons of having 20 writers in one room?
Well, I don't know. It's sort of show by show. I know that Donald Glover on Atlanta wrote most of it himself. But when you have a season that's 25 episodes long or 22 episodes in a season, there's a lot of episodes to get written. And so you have more ideas, more people pitching jokes, etc. And then in a writer's room, usually the way that dynamics usually will play out is that some people are stronger in some areas than others, whereas some people will work on dialogue versus structure, or this guy I was just talking about in the Goldbergs. The reason they hired him was because he knew the 80s pop culture so well that he's their 80s pop culture guy. So
he just knows all the trivia and, we need this reference, something like that.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So how does your writer's room work? And then Jade has a question.
I'm opening up the floor. Does anyone else want to speak?
I don't know. I think you need to start it off because you're the showrunner. So why don't you talk about what a showrunner is and how you run your show?
So a showrunner is basically that. It is the person who sort of directs the writer's room. So our writer's room, because we're not a traditional writer's room, I wanted to have a writer's room. Well, so Moretta and Jenica and I basically got together early on in this process with the idea that we wanted to make a show about this subject, and realized that we weren't going to do it without a writer's room. We wanted to not be the only, we didn't want to be three white women writing this show, because our show is very much about, it's called Intersection for that reason. It's intersectionality.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah, it's intersectionality. We're talking about gentrification. There are there's all kinds of sides to that. But so we reached out actually to a few different people. The first set of people, we weren't ready. The three of us weren't ready to have that room at that time. And so we worked on the show a little bit more and what we wanted to, the characters and structure and stuff. And that's when we were introduced to Karen and Jacinta. And when they sort of came in, it was just it was just going to work. We were this is going to work. Because in our room, we need to be able to talk about really hard topics. And we needed people that were okay with talking about those topics and okay, feeling their voice could be heard without and not be stifled. And we needed to feel sorry, I'm talking a lot, but right now in this moment in time, being a white person you're inherently racist. And so we needed to be okay, feeling comfortable in our racism almost in this writer's room so that we could write that out for people. Does that make any sense? And I don't know if I said that very well, ladies. You can.
Well, I do think it's important for us to really clarify what the show is about. And the show, it's been called Gentrification. It's now called Intersection, but basically talking about a fictional neighborhood in Atlanta. And Atlanta, has been in the forefront of gentrification and what it means for the culture of a city, what it means for the people moving in, the people who have been there, how do people interact with one another, how do they intersect. We're covering, of course, race, but in addition to race, we're covering gender issues, on the gender spectrum of LGBTQIA. We are talking about class, generations, and age. So we're trying to talk about all the ways that people intersect using Atlanta as a landscape for this. It's the city of the future and it's the city of the civil rights era. It's the precipice of both,
Yeah. And also, go ahead.
Yeah. Also, our
like our room has been interesting because we started and we wrote it together, and then since the pandemic, we've just basically kind of started and took a whole nother look at things, and we started the writers' room, revamped it, and virtually, and have been meeting virtually a couple times a week, rewriting everything, because just everything kind of has changed. Like how we're interacting has changed. The race relations has changed. Like the social demographics have changed. You know, so that's been interesting too. We have gone back to the drawing boards again, virtually, and done that. And we kind of had individual episodes that we were tackling, but now we all tackle each episode and we do rewrites on them, and then we'll come and you know, read our rewrites together, and it's almost a free-for-all at this point, and just generating the ideas, and it's just really interesting. It's just like a big think tank blob. And I think that's one of the pros of us, but it can also be one of the cons too, because there's just a lot of great ideas, a lot of storylines, and you know, right now we're just kind of doing these webisodes, so there's only so much you can tackle.
Mm-hmm. Do either of the other two of you want to say anything on the subject, or can we move on to the next question? Which one?
I'll just say that I think the other great thing about having all 5 of us work on it is that we come with our own stories. So we've brought a lot of our real experiences into the show, and so that's what's really fun about it. And hopefully that's why a lot of different types of people will be able to see themselves represented.
Danica, anything, or are you good?
Jacente?
Jacente.
See how we just made. See,
this is why I
don't worry. There's a lot of J's in this thing.
There are.
A lot of M's too.
And then we have a character with a J also. So it's like, oh.
Yeah.
Two, right.
Yeah. You know, I agree with everything the ladies just said, and it's also allowed us to like be very objective about, you know, ideas that we don't necessarily agree about or agree on or have thought about. I know for myself, like, you know, having everyone's different perspectives and beliefs about things has really made me objective about what's happening in the city and, you know, how to write about that in this story. So that's one of the other pros that I was not foreseeing. You know, you're always thinking you're going to butt heads and it's going to be hard to overcome that, but it's actually like, you know, really opened my mind to different ways of thinking about a situation. So yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I think we can agree with that. We write the Anti-Thought series with several different people, sometimes up to 13 different people.
Wow.
Poems and stories and stuff. But it's so interesting to see how other people look at the world and their perspective. It's kind of more like inspiring to you because you're getting inspired by the people and they're talking. Well, I never thought about it that way. Well, now let me go back and write this poem, write this story, or just in your own everyday life. You're like, well, let me take that perspective and try to apply it into my world. So now I can be a more open person and understand more people. So yeah, I'd speak to those points. I like that point very much. Okay, so my question is, how did everyone get started writing? And B question, because I'm gonna be like, well, Nona today and have an A and B question. And was it always on scripts, or did you guys start with writing like books? Anyone?
Mine was mine was the traditional, like, I'm an actress, I want to get seen, and it was like, you got to write your own stuff. And I have just an improv and sketch background, so starting writing sketches, and that was how I started writing.
Pretty much, I also have an improv background, and you know, by being an improv artist, you are a writer because you're writing on the fly, given certain information and situations. But I used to write a lot. I mean, I never considered myself a writer, but I was always writing. And then it wasn't until probably, I don't know, after college that I really started writing things regularly, but it was mainly sketches, skits, shorts, things like that. And so I do have another writing partner, and we wrote a feature film. So this is my first feature that I just finished, and excited about that. So.
That's very cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, the premise is completely irrelevant at this point, but you know, one day maybe it'll come back. One day maybe more than 10 of us can be in a room together.
Yeah.
I think 2020 has made a lot of things irrelevant. Oh well, that wasn't important apparently, because can't do it. Right. Well, anyone else want to talk about it?
Well, I was an English minor and a theater major, so I actually started writing more academically. And I was working as an editor for students on their essays for a long time. And I still actually do for college essays. I work as a side job. So writing scripts kind of happened because I'm an actor and improviser too. And it feels like a very different thing, honestly. Like it feels like a different part of my brain when I'm writing academically versus scripts. It's so much different for me. So it's been a challenge, but a really fun challenge.
So, two more people.
Jacinta, go ahead.
Yeah. So I've been pushed to write and been challenged to write for years and denied trying to do it, like pushed against it very much so. I have always been a Dear Diary kind of girl, journaling all the time, but never really tried to really put anything on paper. And I first wrote a couple shorts in a program in Cannes a few years ago, well, now several years ago. So that was my first effort. And then when this opportunity came, I was like, you know what, universe? Okay. So yeah, really embraced it and so much have enjoyed it.
I was going to say, so Jacinta played one of our characters in our first rendition of our sizzle that we had put together to like go out and try to pitch this show, because we originally had a package together that we were going out and pitching, and Jacinta was playing our main character. And then at the end of that, she had an acting class with Jenica, and Jenica was like, I think Jacinta would be down with like helping us work on this character and stuff. And we were like, okay. So we sort of approached her and we're like, what do you think? And so I think we weren't sure if you were gonna come on as a writer or just come on and talk with us or whatever it was, but it's been so amazing to watch her blossom into her like confidence as a writer, because she's very, very good. And then for me, I used to write short stories. I'm a journaler. I've been writing in a journal since I was 12 years old. I wrote songs. I was a songwriter for a little while in New York City. And again, I think I'm sort of like, I'm sort of like Karen in that, like, I think I wrote on just to get myself seen, but never considered myself a writer. I'd always be like, oh no, I'm a producer. But yeah, I finally just got the confidence to call myself a writer because I've been writing with people and getting stuff out there. So
I heard that several of you, oh my goodness, talked about improv. How do you think that has helped your career thus far? Like, has it really helped your writing and really helped your acting? Or?
Well, I just want to say one thing and then everyone else can take it. But our writer's room is like, all of us are improv actors, I think, except for Jacinta. But as an actor, you improv all the time. The rest of us have been on an improv stage and been trained. We are actors first. So when we come in the writer's room, like, we act out these scenes. We talk them out. Like, we get ourselves in the character. So that's been really fun that's how we've been doing a lot of our writing. So everyone else can talk about that.
Anyone else?
Improv, I used to teach improv too. I was an improv teacher here for many years, and main stage 20 years ago here. And improv is an essential skill. And I think it's one of those things that everyone should take, even people, like public speaking or something, even if you're not an actor, because there are 3 basic rules of improv that make it work. People think you just make it up. I just got a text I can't read because I don't have any glasses on, right? But can you all hear me fine?
It's you. Yeah. Sorry, I was looking for. You're fine.
Okay. So improv has 3 basic rules. You have to yes and. The answer is always yes. Whatever your partner says, you agree with, and then you find a way to add something to it. That's what that means. That's the primary thing. Yes and. No negations. Whatever they say, again, you agree with, so you're not negating them. And then it's no questions. You know, you want to put information out as opposed to asking someone to fill in the blanks. And those are things we need in life. You know, you need to be able to agree with what someone's saying. And you know what else? Instead of going, no, 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 no. And so those are skills that I think the country has lost the ability to do. We've lost the ability to speak and listen, understand, accept, and add to what has already been presented. And that is what improv teaches you.
Yeah, and also Karen said no questions. She's brought up a couple times in the writer's room, like, hey, you guys, we're asking a question here. How can we turn this into a statement? Like, we don't need the question, you know, get into it. So
yeah, and I think it kind of speaks to that difference I was talking about between sides of my brain, because I think the improv side is more right-brained, you know, so sometimes when I'm writing I'll be a little academic with it, and like these ladies know, sometimes my dialogue's a little like that, and then I'll have to be like, okay, wait, no, just be a person, and then so I'll just kind of riff, and then it's so much better when I do that. Moretta's back. Moretta, they're asking about improv and how improv helps writing. I know Moretta has something probably to say about this.
Oh, yeah, I love power. Sorry. I love improv so much.
Yep.
I never like thought that I was writing when I was improvising with my phone. So like that was how I started, because it was just like I'm not really sure what the question is because I jumped in. So I might just ramble.
Go for it. Go for it. We just heard that riffing makes the best dialogue. So go for it.
Yes. Improv.
Yeah. I'm nervous now.
You don't have to.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's
yeah,
okay.
skip.
But so I have a future. So I know you got the show going. So when do you do casting, and when will the sessions be open? I'm just asking because there's an actor in the room besides
asking as a friend.
I'm asking
for a friend.
He's asking for a friend. She really is.
Literally as a friend.
We're asking for a friend. That happens to be
we
here.
gonna shoot this right before right in March, right before like lockdowns happened, and we literally were like, we didn't have necessarily
We're losing you, Loretta. I think I said her name right. If I didn't,
were like, what about so-and-so? What about so-and-so? And we would Instagram pages. Like if people's actors access, yeah, you're losing me. I'm done. I'm just gonna listen.
No, I wasn't gonna stop you.
That was fascinating too. That's the problem.
Stop that lady. Just let her go.
No, everyone else knows what I'm gonna say. Y'all go.
I'll finish just in case you'll see on the video it was like up and down. We did get some of it. She was saying that when we were casting this for our March, when we were going to shoot it in March, we were going to people's Instagram. We were thinking of people and Instagramming them, and we were casting basically through Instagram. She was saying something about Actors Access, like if we couldn't find them on there or whatever it was, but I think that's what she was going. And I think that's an interesting thing to say to any actors watching this is that, social media is important because as people, as writers and producers of this, we were literally just casting off of Instagram. So
how would you do that off of Instagram? How would you know which people to look into? Like did you search for a particular hashtag or?
We would friends and stuff, but we would be able to show each other through Instagram who was
people's pages and if they were right for the role.
I mean,
so it would have to be people already connected to you. What was that?
It does have to. That's exactly where I was going to. I mean, yeah, you want to cast a larger net, but when you're talking about coming on set and doing things quickly, you want to be able to pull from people that you know will come on time, that will have their lines memorized, that will have stuff to give. I'm hoping my phone isn't going dead. So generally, you you cast, when you're casting small, you cast out of your immediate friend circle or colleague circle, people that are in your classes, and then you go from there. And when you can't find a specific type, then you generally ask friends, do you know somebody? Do you know somebody? So that's why it's imperative for actors to constantly be networking, be involved. When you're in classes, it's more than just taking this class, it's who's in the class with you. And there are people who I've volunteered with, who I've, worked with in different types of aspects that I've developed relationships with over 20 years. And when certain things come up, they're like, oh, this summer I did a bunch of live stream interviews for Atlanta Film Festival because they already knew me. You know what I mean? It's not always just about your talent and this. It's not who you know, it's who knows you. So Get out there and network all the time and be involved, be around, and be someone who's known as being pleasant, professional, and fun to be around. And that's what people like.
Yeah, so you start with people that you can vouch for, and then you spread to people that they can vouch for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and I basically begged Jacinta to like be part of our show because I was a huge fangirl of hers in class, and I was like, please be in our show. I love you. So
yeah, a lot of the casting came from Jenica's and Jacinta's pool of acting classes, and Moretta wanted me to say, like, it's not necessarily based on their followers. It was about like just seeing what they're like, who they were as a person, and seeing if they were right for the role. Oops, what did I do?
I would say too, if you are an actor watching this and you're interested, like, message us on Instagram and tell us, because we'll look at you,
I think there's an actor here that just wants to. Do you want to do that orally? Just Tanya, just go ahead and let them know what your interest is.
Really, would just
as a joke, I was going to put in the chat, I'm interested, but you beat me to it.
Using Tanya to get to y'all's craft table, so don't.
Yeah. Do you mind if I ask another writing room question?
Absolutely.
That's why we're here.
I just want to know, how does your particular room work? I mean, how long does it take you to come up with a completed episode? And then how do you ladies work as a group in terms of who takes the lead on this episode is going to have this arc, that kind of thing, and how do you fill in?
Okay, I just have one thing to say. Moretta, you look like you're back, like for real back. Like, I've been seeing you move, and you look like you're for real back. So you can talk now if you want.
Oh, great. I've found my voice. Thank you. But see,
you found your G-spot in the house.
Oh my gosh.
Finally. But as soon as I took it off mute, it said I was unstable. But that could be a general vibe.
That's just in response to your nervous breakdown.
Right? Oh
God. Okay, so to answer that question, I will say back to sort of what Moretta had said of, we've had 2 iterations of this writer room where like Moretta and Jenica and I sort of were like, okay, we've gotten the outline of the show, and we're going to bring it to Karen and Jacinta, and we're going to like have them help us write it. And then once COVID happened and all this stuff went down, we sort of came together and we're like, man, this needs to be different. We need to go back to the drawing board. And so I think what we've been doing is sort of, we came together collaboratively, all 5 of us, to actually talk about all the characters, all the episodes, outline the show. And I think it took a little while. It was bumpy. I think it is bumpy to do it as a group, as opposed to like usually a showrunner, like a creator. It will usually be 1 to 2 people. They write a pilot, and then everyone else comes on board to like work on that vision. But with us, we've sort of come back together to be like, okay, let's make sure we're all on the same path with this vision. We all are going to talk about breaking story and these characters. And then we're going to like make sure we're all telling the same story based on a collaborative mind. So it's been a little bumpy, and it's been, for me, like, I minored in philosophy, and this has all been very fun for me, like even the bumpy parts, because I feel like it's pushing me to be a better person and better artist. So how it works is that once it's been working, we kind of got together, talked through outlines of each episode, and now we're into the writing part. So we kind of, if we get inspired, I have people kind of like, I want everybody to, if they're inspired, to write and bring something to the table. And then based on kind of that outline that we like, and then we'll read through everybody's episode, we'll see what works and what doesn't work. And then we kind of try to merge them together. And that's sort of what we've been doing.
Do you think you'll be able to continue going that way once you're fully into production, or do you think time constraints will prevent that?
Well, we plan to have we were doing 6 episodes, and we plan to have all 6 done before we go into production.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Anyone else want to talk about their role in the writer's room?
Well, I'll just say we all have different, oh, sorry, Merida, you go.
No, please.
I was just going to say we all have different strengths and things, which is fun to see. Like, Karen is the challenger. She's the one that's like, but wait a second. We don't even.
Is that what we're calling it? The challenger?
I love it. So, she'll like challenge us and in a loving way. And then, Jacinte is like our quiet but very poignant writer who like, anytime she says anything, it means so much. And Moretta's the one that will like take an episode and rewrite it and make it like amazing. And we're like, whoa, how'd you think of that? And then Meg is like our fearless leader. So
I feel like, and then
do you want a volunteer time on a script that's horrible?
I feel like my job as a showrunner, at least in our group, is I do this naturally. I just kind of like push us along. Like, we're just pushing along, like, let's keep working. And then Jenica, you didn't tell what you were good at. Jenica's like, she does essay writing for her job. So like she's also an activist, which she didn't announce herself, but she's like straight up activist. Like she's involved with everything going on right now. And so she comes in with like a lot of knowledge in these things. So.
Moretta,
absolutely.
You were going to say. Oh, you were going to say something right before.
What we were talking about, like Meg was saying like bumps, and I was trying to think of like a better word for that, because it really is like we have this just beautiful thing of like kind of disagreeing and going head to head with each other and working through it. And I don't know what that is besides like being like conscious adults, but it's really nice to see and like create something together. I do think we have something special going on here.
Yeah. Go on, Jacinte.
I was just gonna say, I think we've gotten the best out of working out those kinks and everything, because we really had to ask ourselves, like, what do we want to say? How are we representing those people? And are we doing the best that we can with this? And so, having to come together and really like understand what we're trying to do has been the best thing out of the bumps and the kinks and everything else. Like, we really have come together on some really good, strong storylines. And once we have the outline, then writing is it's so much fun. And the things that we come to the table with work together so fluidly, because the ideas and the messages are so clear to us because we've worked it out.
Do you guys employ any sensitivity readers for storylines that are outside of what you identify?
I'm sorry, what was the first part of your question?
Do you ever employ sensitivity readers to go over scripts for characters or storylines that are outside of how you identify?
Well, that's really what we've been doing, though. I'm sorry, just that you go on. You had a good answer.
No, I was going to say we haven't employed anyone outside of our group, but Meg has resources that have read some of our writing. And then, like, I think, Karen, where you were going was that, we all have very different ways that we identify and have very different personal stories. And so if it comes up that does kind of hit us in a way, in a striking way, we can call it out, you know. And you know, we don't have everyone represented in the writer's room in our characters, but we know these people, and at a certain point we have the resources to get them to speak on what it is that we're trying to say.
Yeah, I think that the main thing is we all want to make sure that we have authentic characters grounded in a real experience, you know. Of course, we can bring up the show Atlanta because, of course, we're in Atlanta. But the thing that made Atlanta just so different and so, I know for me, having lived in Atlanta all these years, is that all the characters were so authentic. They were just, that's that guy. Oh, that's that dude that works at the store down the street. Oh, that's that kid, so-and-so's kid. And that's what we really want to do. Now, of course, we all have very different backgrounds and very different personalities, very different writing styles. And when you're coming together, you know, sometimes things go over real well, and then I have a very aggressive personality. So
she's a Leo.
Challenge.
I'm a Leo.
I was thinking you're going to get the sweatshirt, like hearing the challenge. That's how I feel your sweatshirt was going to be on the back. I love it.
Yeah, but it's really, I mean, we're 5 women, so, you know, I mean, I had 4 sisters, so, and went to a women's college. Sat on board of Women in Film, so I'm used to how women interact, and sometimes it's smooth and sometimes not so smooth. But the thing is to get past it and to focus on why we came together, focus on the fact that we all respect each other as artists, we respect each other as people, and come back to that and know that the subject matter that we're talking about, even before the whole world came to some awakening, or the whole country, even though some people are still challenged, you know, it's difficult to talk about. And then with people that you're just kind of meeting, you know, we've known each other. I mean, I've known you all maybe like a little over a year now. It's been like a year and a half, maybe. Jacente, I kind of knew through the audition circles before. So we're like working on really difficult subject matter with people that we're getting to know. Mm-hmm. And it's been an incredible experience. It's been a lot of fun. Interesting.
I also want to mention that our show is a comedy.
Right.
That wasn't coming across.
Well, that's amazing. All right, so that wasn't coming across, but I'm excited for it.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it. Especially with all the improv background.
Yes, it's gonna be amazing. Yeah. I wanted to say, you can clearly see that y'all all respect each other and respect what each other brings to the table, all of the different strengths, and you seem like y'all know each other's strengths and each other's weaknesses, and that I feel, because, you know, don't take my advice on it or whatever, but it is, I feel, is a good group. That's how you make a good group, a good team, good collaboration, is when you recognize each person for who they are and what they bring to the table. So you might not necessarily agree with everything, but when you have a certain level of respect for someone, you are going to take their opinion and put it in your mind as something that matters, because I know your strengths and I know what you're bringing to the table. So let me think about what you're saying instead of saying, no, you're going to say, okay, yes, but, as Karen said. You're going to say yes, but. And
then rules of improv.
And, yes, and.
Yes, and, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Yes, and. Yes, and. And I just really appreciate that, and I respect all of you for bringing that level of respectability back to groups, and so people can understand that, yeah, working in groups.
I love how you said that, back to groups.
Back to groups, because people sometimes, they don't have good examples on how you can disagree and yet still get something accomplished.
Well said. At this stage in the show, what is the best way for people to support your show?
You're stealing my question, Tanya. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was kind of thinking about that before we got on. And yeah, I need to have something a little bit more concrete now, because we did run a Seed and Spark campaign. We are fully funded to go through with our shoot. You can follow us on Instagram at Gentrification the Show. But to me, that falls through the algorithm sometimes. I think the very best thing is to find us on Seed and Spark. with Intersection, because if you don't have to donate, you can just follow us, follow the project. And that way we get your email. And that to me, I think is a better way for us to communicate with our fans. So.
Can those really wealthy people still donate though?
Sorry, Mike did.
Happy birthday!
Hi.
He comes to all the writers' meetings just to say hi.
Oh my God.
Also, where can people find each of you individually, since you all are actors?
All our actors and
Yeah.
improv. We'd
Yeah.
love to be able to follow your career as well.
Oh.
Well, on our Seed and Spark campaign, there's a page that says Meet the Team or something, and all of our info's on there. So you can follow us on Instagram and everything.
Perfect.
We can say them here. I'm at Meg Messmer.
At
Out.
Moretta Moss, Muretta.
See, I was about to go there. Karen Ceesay, Ceesay. Karen spelled the middle-aged white lady style.
Without the hairstyle.
Yeah.
I got it upstairs in a box. Don't worry.
I like you. I mean, I like everyone, but that was just great.
That was great.
Oh, I'm at Jacinte, Jacinte and B for my last name, Jacinte B.
She was a rapper back in the 80s. What's up, Jacinte?
Right.
And I'm at Jenica Hill, Jennica Hill, like a hill.
Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone.
everyone. I really
And for
appreciate
making a dream of mine come true.
I know. And we got to,
I mean, this has been really great for us too, because we've never been interviewed as a full group. So I'm very grateful to you guys for asking us.
You know, eventually you'll be interviewed for like People and Vanity Fair and stuff like that. So
Amen.
It's a good practice round.
All right, so Tanya, where can people find you? Because I was going to make you say your website.
On social media at Ms. Tanya Todd. And my website, just for Jade, is www.ms, that's Ms. not Miss, MSTonyatodd.com.
Thank you so much. I love it so much. All right, I guess I'll go ahead and wrap us up, right?
Thank you.
You can find out everything your ladies are doing, and yes, I do mean everything your ladies are doing, on www.andwethought.com. While you're there, take a moment, go down to the bottom of the page, the home page, and see our Ladies
New
Tale podcast. So
Where
you can-
professional actors read my script.
Right, that. And we also have some really great interviews going on that also. But more important than everything I just said, while you're at our website, please go to the Ladies tab, go to the middle of the page and see the charities that we proudly support. And yes, we know that it's 2020 and money is a little funny these days, right? So you might not be able to donate money to them, and that's okay. Maybe you have some time or some extra clothes or some things that they're looking for. Maybe you can donate that to them. But if you can't do that, and that's okay too. Maybe you can just get on the social media or send them an email and say, thank you so much for doing this wonderful work in the world. We appreciate it, because we all need encouragement every now and again.
I do.
And I know I do all the time, right? So just remember, y'all, that wisdom is all around you if
You're open to finding it and accepting it. So peace and love, you guys, from Will Nona
and Jade. Oh yeah, thanks for listening.